Jason Vale Podcast, everybody! And once again, whether you're driving on a train, plane, boat, you might be chilling on a beach, who knows? You might be making dinner for yourself, for the kids maybe, or working hard at the gym. Welcome and thank you very much for your company. My guest today is someone who is guaranteed to make you sleep. Now, before you turn off the podcast thinking, I am now about to interview the world's most boring guest, it's not what you think. Not only is he guaranteed to make you sleep, but he can also make you rich, smarter, happy, more confident and thin. Yes, indeedy. If I said to you, look into my eyes, you will know I can only be talking, of course, about one man. He's an international best-selling author, keynote speaker, TV broadcaster. He's been described as not only the #1 hypnotist in the world, but also the world's funniest hypnotist. No pressure there, then. It is, of course, the one, the only. Paul McKenna, everybody.
Thank you.
Welcome to the podcast. Really appreciate you coming on. And also welcome to Juicy Oasis. What's your first impressions?
I have to tell you, I absolutely love it. I'll be coming back. First of all, it's a beautiful resort. It's luxurious here. Great energy. Beautiful place. Your dynamic energy makes it so much fun. I'm recommending it to people.
Well, talking about energy, Paul, and I said to myself, yes, I thought, you know what, Paul's here, but I guess there's no way he's going to join in on the activities. No way he's going to get involved. But on the trampoline, you're singing along, you're getting involved.
That's my kind of workout. The one where you just run endlessly on a track is boring. You feel better at the end of it. But I love the fact that you put on really great tunes. Everyone's bouncing up and down. One of the greatest forms of exercise is a trampoline. You inspire everyone. You're being funny. You're encouraging. And just the general atmosphere is infectious. You can't help but feel good.
Where did this all begin? I want to get involved in this because a lot of people don't know, and some people falsely know you as a stage hypnotist. Millions and millions and millions of books, translated into 32 different languages. You've had shows all around the world, but of course, it started off in radio. I think you're even friends with Philip Green now, or whatever. I don't know, you know him, I think. But to think that you started in his store in Topshop.
Yes, I was DJ in Topshop when I was about 16. And then I went and worked on Radio Caroline.
On the ship?
On the boat that rocks.
Really?
I was 20 years old. It was one of the best real-life adventures I ever had. And then I worked in local commercial radio. I worked at Capital Radio and at Radio 1.
Well, that's where I heard you first. Capital Radio is where I knew you from, essentially. That was back in the day with Chris Tarrant, who really owned the place. And I knew you from there. And then all of a sudden, he's on television doing hypnosis.
I was interested in yoga and meditation when I was working in local radio, and I went to interview the local hypnotist. And I'd had a bad day. I'd broken up with my girlfriend. I'd round my boss. The people in the apartment where I was living were keeping me up. And I went to see this guy, and he said, look, rather than you interview me, I think I should do it to you because you look rather stressed out. I said, knock yourself out. I sat back, closed my eyes. Half an hour later, I felt brilliant. I felt calm. I felt peaceful. I could think clearly. The burdens had lifted off my shoulders. I felt bliss. And I said, this is good. Have you got any books on this? And he lent me a book by Richard Bandler.
Because for those that don't know, Richard Bandler essentially is the god, the guru of NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming.
Yeah, he's the co-creator of NLP, and he's widely regarded as the greatest hypnotist in the world. And my teacher. He was Tony Robbins' teacher. He's really a fantastic mind. He's a proper real life genius. Anyway, I read this book and I start hypnotizing my friends to lose weight, to quit smoking. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And then I'm at a party and I'm talking about it, and someone says, oh, you won't be able to hypnotize me. And bingo, they're under, and we've got them jumping up and down like a ballerina, or shouting out, I believe in fairies or something. And we're all falling about laughing. So I'm doing radio by day, hypnotism by night. And I thought, where will I be in 5 years if I continue down the road I'm going? And I thought, I'll be older, I'll be balder, I'll be more paranoid. Hang on. And I asked myself that question that all the motivational speakers use, which is, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? So suddenly I thought, I'd be a hypnotist. I'd be on TV. I'd be playing big venues around the world. I'd work with all kinds of really exciting people. I'd make self-improvement cassettes, as it was at the time. And I thought, hang on, Capital Radio owns a theatre. I make promos that say, see Pink Floyd in concert with 95.8.
I'm back there. I'm back already.
Yeah, exactly. Right, okay. Anyway, so I go in to see Richard Park. He was the big boss of Capital Radio. And I said, look, I wonder if I could put a show on, basically. And he sat back in his chair, and he had to think about it, and he went, I'll back you, Paulie. Now, in that moment, my life changed because I think all success in life comes down to people backing you. So, for example, if you're a politician, your voters have to back you. If you have a shop, your customers back you. The people that come back here time and time again are backing you, Jason. Yeah. So in that moment, Richard backed me. And I asked him years later why. I said, because I'm not sure I would have backed me, you know? And he said...
but he looked into your eyes.
He did. And, he said, do you know what he did? Yes, I tried all my persuasive techniques. It was a lovely, sweet thing he said. He goes, I saw the spark, Paulie. I saw the spark.
That's a massive compliment come from Richard Parkes. Many people even listening will actually know of him, even though they don't know. On Fame Academy, he was the judge that notoriously had an argument with Patrick Kilty. But for someone like him, who is a go-getter, he makes stuff happen. So when he sees a spark, he's not wrong though, was he?
Richard's he's very humble, but he's a very intuitive kind of guy. I put a show on, and within a few weeks, the thing had sold out. And a TV producer, a guy called Paul Smith, and he came round to the dressing room one day and he says, I've been looking for you for 10 years. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, these hypnotists are all blokes with goatee beards and black shirts buttoned up to the top, sort of like the Little Britain character.
Yeah.
And he said, I need somebody that can work on television. ITV said, right, we want a special with you and a series of hypnotism shows. So I made these TV shows, went to bed one night, woke up the next day, couldn't walk down the street. And I had no idea quite what my life had changed literally within a few days.
There was like anything up to 14 million viewers, figures that you don't get these days for anything.
That one year was the most watched entertainment show on television. And
no wonder you couldn't walk down the street.
Yeah, and it was great. I loved it. And I did those shows for about 3 years. And I always wanted to finish on a high. What I did was, because I've been doing a lot of self-help with people, I went to San Francisco and I tracked Richard Bandler down and I pestered him. I went to one of these seminars and I walked up and I said, hello, Dr. Bandler, lovely to meet you. He goes, you're the guy on TV.
Oh, okay.
And I thought, oh, here we go. And he goes, like your show. And I went, oh, okay. So we put on an NLP training called Change Your Life in 7 Days. And suddenly, we were teaching these big events with hundreds and then thousands of people. And then Sky asked me to do a series called I Can Change Your Life. And they said, what we're going to do is we're going to send people to you who are, many of them are incurables. And it was the most extraordinary, eclectic mix of people, obviously people with phobias. There was a guy with Tourette's, a guy who had hysterical blindness, hadn't seen anything in 8 years. His vision came back. So some of them were really powerful, moving stories. At the time, I was developing my weight loss system because I was I'm very anti the sort of conventional, institutionalized diet. I wrote a book called I Can Make You Fit.
Well, I read the book. I read
I think we both share that mindset,
absolutely.
don't we? It wasn't so much that what I thought I was doing was right. It was, I thought that the institutionalized diet industry or the hate your body industry had got it so wrong. And I started teaching it as a seminar. I did it as a show for Sky.
Show was great. I saw the show. I did like the show. Show was good.
Then I went to Broadway. And I played on Broadway for a while.
Did you? See, I didn't know that at all.
It was great fun.
I've got a load of information here about you haven't read yet, and that I'm sure will come up.
And I thought, I keep coming to America. I actually need to just buy a place, live here. And in the same way that we invaded musically in the 60s with the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, etc., we've done the same in television. It's like going to Chelsea-on-Sea, going into West Hollywood these days. I decide I think I'll throw a big party every week.
I saw that. Yeah, I never got an invite. I'm just.
If you'd been there, Jason. If you'd been in town, because everyone else would just come and hang out. So I had a fantastic time, and I got to meet, work with, hang out with all kinds of great people. Even now, I work every week with people. I have never charged anybody for working personally with them.
Yeah, I know.
Whether they're a huge movie star or they're a war veteran or, whomever it is, because life's been very good to me. It's my way of giving back. Just recently, I've been doing a lot of PTSD. So I've been working with war veterans, with paramedics, with police officers, firemen, people who are heroes, frankly, and helping them get over a severe trauma so that they can function again and do their job. What's a few hours for me is often a lifetime for them.
And it's nice because you're in the stage of life, it's fair to say you don't have to do anything, but you want to. And because you genuinely love what you do. The passion is there. If somebody said to you, it would cost you money, you have to pay to do it. Yes. You probably would.
That's a great question. I sometimes say that to people, what do you love to do so much you'd pay to do it? So there's no financial gain for me in sitting with people. One of the problems with gurus, I think, is that...
Well, first of all.
Yeah, first of all. And they set themselves up then to be the sort of model of perfection. I am absolutely not. I am a bloke from North London, and I have a particular skill set. I don't have any magic powers, but I just happen to be good at what I do because I'm so relentless. I've got a fairly good memory, and also, I'm able to, because of my ADHD, think about a lot of things simultaneously and still function. So that's kind of, where my life is at. I still, I do motivational events. I love doing them. I mean, it's fantastic.
Because when you moved into self-help, for wanting a better word, I think some people miss the point of that when they go, it was a self-help, but you didn't help me. You go, no, it's called self-help.
But so true.
He says, and they missed the whole title. We're just catalysts trying to help you along the way and give you some tools, and that's the way of it. But then they see you doing that. They just see that, Paul McKenna spoke to them, and that was it. They stopped smoking. They did that. They did whatever it was, right? Yeah. So then when you write a book with such a definitive title, I was going to ask you about your titles, because I would be scared of a title like it, right? So what you're saying is, I can, not you can, not self-help. So you've gone, you're in a self-help genre, but what you said in your title is, I can. I can. So you're saying, I can make you thin. I can make you
I'm not
rich.
saying I will.
Very good. Come on.
Okay. Now, and the reason I came up with that title is because I asked people, I said, what do you want? Do you want to be happy with your body? And they all went, I want to be thin. I thought, if I call the book Be Happy with Your Body, it won't have the same impact.
And by the way, was that controversial? Because I admired you for the title. To be honest with you, I thought that's bold, because you'd be torn up. If you brought it out now, I think you'd be torn apart. And even back then, it was still on the cusp.
Oh, no,
it's not that
I got so much flack.
Did you?
In fact, one of the publishers in Scandinavia, without my permission, changed the title because they said, well, people won't believe it. I went, no, that's the idea. I'm saying, prove me wrong. Right. I'm coming to make you thin.
Right, okay, yeah.
If you are overweight, it's not your fault. It's the fault of your programming. I come from an overweight family. My system has, the highest success rate in the world, I believe. And will it work for everybody? No, but I don't think that everything does. But if it doesn't work, return it and get a full refund. That's how confident I am. I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And so
which is great. No, but that's my
mindset.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of headline readers, aren't there? So unless they saw you on QVC or listened to you on the radio promoting that book or whatever, or talking about it, they didn't really get it. In particular, I Can Make You Rich, which of course had nothing to do with money, ironically. Yeah. But of course, the title is quite emotive for a lot of people.
Oh, do you know, it got more people wound up. Than anything else. People were horrified by it. They went, because they,
but they didn't read the book, presumably.
I would ask people to do this process where I would say, just fill in the word here. Money is.
Okay.
And they would put in things like evil. Money causes wars. Okay. Money. And then I would go, now put the word shovel in. Shovels are evil. Shovels cause war, because money is it's a tool, and so it's bits of paper as a number. And the Rich book, as you rightly say, Jason, is more than about money, although everyone in the control group who we tested it on made more money. One guy went from $8,000 a year to $1.25 million in a year. Right? Yes. But at the same time, was he any happier? I would say probably not that much. In fact, when you look at the research, the lottery winners, they go from about a 6 up to an 8 or 9. A year later, they're back around a 6. So, what I didn't want to do was create more miserable millionaires. But the book is absolutely about making money. But most of us in the Western world, we are rich. If I say, if you had all the money in the world, would you change your friends? And I'll go, no, not really. Would you change what you laugh at? No. Would you change what you eat? They might eat out a bit more, but no, not really. Would you change your spouse? Some of them might say
a different answer.
Yes, or if I say, would you change your job? Some of them will say, no, but I'd work a bit less. If I say your house, some of them will say, yes, I would. Most of them would change their car. So I'll go, everything you answered no to is where you're already living rich.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And so a billionaire can afford maybe a better bed than you or I, but they can't buy a great night's sleep. And so when you have a great night's sleep, you are living rich.
That's right, you can make them sleep.
Yes,
that's right. It's fine. And like you said, did becoming, making 1.25 million from a year from, $8,000 a year, did it make you happier? Not necessarily so, but that didn't matter because you got a book. I can make you happy.
Yes.
So the good news is at any given point,
right, that's what I'm trying to head off every single thing.
But it is true about the wealth. True wealth. I mean, as corny as it is. I mean, I obviously, as you can imagine, I come from a viewpoint of health is wealth. I mean,
I totally agree.
But that also includes mental health as well as physical health, and I don't believe they are mutually exclusive, and I don't think they can be mutually exclusive at the same time. So what is next, I suppose, on the horizon?
So I live in London again now. I still do, plenty of events. I do a couple of every year with Richard Bandler, but I'm a hired gun. So, I've just recently, I've been, in the last couple of months, I've been in France, I've been in Italy, I've been in LA, I've been in Las Vegas, I've been in New York, I've been in Switzerland, I've been in Mallorca, all over the place. And some of those are events.
Talking of events, do people still get you? Do they still want you? Like, I can imagine, like, I don't know, somebody in Dubai and their daughter's getting married. It's like, oh, we want Paul McKenna to do a stage hypnotist show again.
Oh, yeah, I stopped doing those a long time ago.
I thought so. Okay,
about 20 years
all
ago.
right, fine.
Yeah. But, yes, and I still get asked to do them, but it's not really, for me, that. I mean, I've either got to be taken seriously as a behavioural scientist or I'm an entertainer. About 10 years ago, my publishers said to me, could you write a book on relationships? It's a very big category. And I went, if I could stay in one.
That's what I said. You won't ever see me with a book. I was talking about it before. I didn't know you was on relationship. But yeah, you.
So not only am I married, I'm happily married. And I have been for years now, for about 4 years. And I thought, even though I don't have all the answers, I absolutely know what I think makes relationships work and not work, as a sort of generic. Yeah. So the new book is called The 7 Things That Make or Break a Relationship. And so people go, oh, what are they? And I go, well, I could just read you a list like you get in a women's magazine, like communication or something like that. Yes. It's not that. It's basically 7 processes. These are the people I expect will want to read this book and use the system. It's either people that keep repeating the same old mistakes again and again and again, and they want to stop that, and they want to actually have a really fantastic relationship. They want to find the right person. People who are in a relationship, and again, they keep arguing or repeating the same sort of problems, or actually people who go, you know what, my relationship is pretty good. I want to see if I can make it even better.
So you've got 7 steps to...
It's 7 things, 7 processes. It's not just about communicating. It's about how you agree and how you disagree. It's also about the modality that you think with it. For example, because we either think predominantly visually, auditory, or kinesthetically. So people that are visual, they love to see acts of service or a bunch of flowers. They like to see something. Auditories like me, I need to hear that you love me. Kinesthetics, you've got to touch them meaningfully when you tell them, yeah? So some of it's simple communication strategies. Other stuff is a bit more sophisticated, but the way I see it is my job is to take the complicated and make it common sense. In fact, somebody said to me once, books, they're sort of common sense, aren't they? And I go, do you know how hard it is to write common sense? It's so hard. And so I think it's the Einstein thing of make it as simple as possible and no simpler. And so that's what I've just been doing. So that will be out next year.
I'm putting you on the spot now, but when it comes out next year, I'd love to get you back on the podcast to talk exclusively, just because I'd be interested in it as well, because it's one of those that it's almost the enigma of, can somebody get it right? And I read your thing just before we started recording, because I know that Kate obviously was your PA.
Yes.
PA for years. It was while you were making a list.
It's a lovely story. My friend Mikey Neal, he's a famous American life coach, and he said to me, it was a few years ago, he goes, hey, I noticed you date these hot women, right? I said, yes. He goes, but you don't like them. I went, well, what's the problem with that? They're hot. He goes, no, stupid thinking. He said, think about who you love to be with, who you like to spend time with, and who you feel attracted to. And so, being a hypnotist, I put myself in a little trance, put the 2 thoughts in my subconscious, and it drew an Excel spreadsheet. Now, it's been reported that I actually did an Excel. No, I didn't. Just my unconscious.
Oh, okay.
It just went bing, and it went, Kate, ding, like that. I went, oh, crikey, no, because that's wrong, because we work together, and
you suddenly realised it was your PA that actually you should have been with all this.
And my mother has said to me, do you know, I think you and Kate. I went, oh no, if I got it wrong, Mum. Anyway, one night we're in my kitchen, we've had a bottle of wine. I said, tell me something about you that I don't know, and she said, I love you. I went, I said, Paul. And so, so at first it was a little bit clandestine. It was like, we've got to stop doing this. Yes. But then it sort of developed into something even more wonderful than I ever could have imagined, because there was a point at which I wasn't just single, I was happily single. So I wanted my freedom.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise I could be so happy being with one person, because a relationship isn't a thing. You can't put it in a wheelbarrow. A relationship is a dynamic process. We are continually relating, and the circumstances and our mood and all kinds of different things will affect the way we relate. So it's a dynamic process in which I've been now involved for a number of years. I'm loving it. I thought I was commitment phobic, which I probably was, because I'd had my heart broken. I'm now, I'm very happily married.
See, but that's why I want to hear more. I almost want to do an East End of it, because we're coming up towards the end of the podcast. So I always want to go, do. Like, you've got to tune in to the podcast next year with Paul McKenna. I can keep you together. I can tear you apart. I don't know what the relationship book will be called. But I'm sure it's neither of those two titles. But I suppose all of this is relationship. We always finish up with this anyway, but everything's relationship based. With addiction is a relationship.
Yes.
Everything's relationship based, including your relationship with food, your relationship with this, or whatever the case is. So I'm sure all of that, I think it would be beneficial just generically, no matter what it is. But health and fitness wise and stuff, where does kind of good food play part? I know it's slightly different for you, because in I Can Make You Thin, and I hope you read it, it's a phenomenal book, but there are 4 key elements towards it, and it's about primarily eating consciously, eating slowly, and various other bits, which I, at the time, my argument against it was it doesn't really work for Pringles. So it's like because once you pop, you can't stop. So it's one of those like,
well, unless you eat it consciously.
Well, that is the point. But how? Because then your mind's manipulated by the product.
Well, yeah. You see, so your point is absolutely spot on. That some food, like people with chocolate, say, and this is why I put in the craving buster. If, for example, you find you're out of control around a particular food, say it's Pringles or say it's chocolate or whatever, I get you to think of, so you've got a compulsion going, right? Yes, you've got dopamine drive, right? And you will serotonin reward once you eat it. What I do is I get you to think about something that you're repulsed about.
Yeah.
So it would be,
I've seen it done on stage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So people say, I don't know, it's broccoli. Or I say, imagine it covered with hair from a barbershop floor. I say, mix the two together. You mix compulsion with repulsion. Boom. Suddenly you're on an even playing field. So the gist of my approach, which was, different to diets where you're encouraged to starve yourself, which means you binge, and so you lose, fat in the short term, but you gain it back. And look, you and I both know this because we have a similar.
Well, this is what I always put. So just put a covenant there, because a lot of people think that that's what goes on here. And what we always say is this: it's abnormal to live on juice for a week, but it's also abnormal to eat junk food all the time either. And what we do is it's a mind and body thing that we do here. And obviously, primarily, most of it is psychology. So, like you said, if all they did was come here and drink juice, and there was, and that's it, we just went, there's the juice, then they'll go into that boom and bust as what you're literally talking about.
And part of the juicing, again, why I'm such a fan of juicing, is it's a great way for detoxing, for want of a better word. But also, I think I've told you this story. I mean, so years ago, this would be 25 years ago, I'm doing an event in Denmark for they're medical doctors, right? And I can feel I got a chest cold coming. So I said, look, I think I'm gonna need some penicillin. And they went, nope. They said, we're going to get you better. I said, what are you going to do? So they made me drink juice morning, noon and night. So they overwhelmed me with vitamins and minerals. And
yes, I forgot about this. You told me this years ago.
And they basically made me drink juice until I was juiced out. Anyway, well, the next day I wake up. The chest cold's gone completely. So now, I mean, obviously I like things like a Myers cocktail, a massive infusion of vitamins, magnesium, things like that. But if I feel I'm run down, what do? I go and I get juice. So I use juicing not just as a detox, but also to boost immune system. And by having lots of it in quick succession, it says to the immune system, hey, you've got all the ammo you need. So that's why I'm a massive fan of the juicing.
Because I was going to say, what do you do on a day-to-day? Because everybody would expect you to be perfect with everything, but you've already alluded earlier on that actually you're not perfect with everything.
Certainly not. I actually used to have a trainer come to the house. I was in the gym every day, and then I go through periods of intense work, and so I don't do formal physical aerobic exercise, but I got into the habit of was meditating every day. So a friend of mine has a great saying. He calls it positive overwhelm. When you're in nature, I mean, like the view here, the view here is just brilliant. I mean, if you've looked at the most beautiful painting ever, you look straight out at all the shapes and the different shades of green and the way the light falls upon it is amazing. So for me, part of my sort of daily be well routine is, firstly, I give myself recovery time. So if I'm working intensely for a couple of days, I make sure I've got a day off either side. Also, walking the dog in the park is as much a meditation for me as it is exercise for her. I try and eat well, but there have been times when I have perhaps of an evening enjoyed one too many glasses of red, but I stopped drinking spirits a couple of years ago.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, it'd be a rare day. You might be
okay,
fine. Might have had a gin and tonic, but that'd be it. But yes, I just decided about 2 years ago, so I'm 55 now, I thought, maybe what I need to do is really look after my health more, because I didn't used to get a hangover, but when I woke up and I thought, I don't feel so good. I feel a bit jaded. I can't enjoy the rest of the day as much. And there is so much to feel good about. I loved your talk this morning. I thought it was excellent. The thing that you said that was so brilliant, which was our natural default setting is to be healthy. But because life happens, it gets in the way. And then perhaps, we eat fast food, too much fast food. We drink too much coffee. We burn ourselves out. We do things that are not in our best interest because life happens. So as you said earlier, Jason, it all begins with good health. If you are in great health, and that means physically and mentally, the beauty of what goes on here is it's not like some boot camp thing where you wake up, come on. It's not that. It's beautiful, it's calm, it's luxurious. And what better way than to feel good, than to be in nice surroundings? Because when it comes time for the juice, rather than in the good old, like where I used to be years ago, I'd just be gulping that down. Instead, I actually sipped it, savoured it and enjoyed it, looked at the scenery, and I thought, oh, I get it. This is a reset. You call it a reset?
It's a reset, yeah. It resets the mind, resets the body. And I want you, hopefully, manage to persuade you. You never know. We might even do an event together one day, Paul. Who knows? It would be amazing
I would
if we
very much
did.
like to do an event with you. Yeah, let's
Vale McKenna, mind and body.
Yeah, we take no prisoners. People would leave happier, healthier, whether they like it or not.
I was a bit nervous about interviewing what has been somebody who I've looked up to for so many years, Paul.
Likewise, I've always admired your work, Jason.
The reason being is because I thought at some point during the interview I could start doing something like barking like a dog. And but he doesn't do stage hypnotism anymore. I'm pleased to hear. Actually, looking into his eyes, I feel the same as I did before we started the interview. I'd like to thank the best-selling author, no less, and the one and only, the most famous and funniest. He is, because he did a program called The Funniest Hypnotist in the World. Is the one, the only. It's Mr. Paul McKenna, everybody. Come on!